This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so yesterday I told about how to get the data from the front end to back end. Correct? When someone is entering the data on the front end HTML form in the screen, when someone enters the data on the form, and when they click submit button, so the request will come to the server. So as part of the request, the parameters will also come with the request. Now the web container inside the server will handle the request. The way it handles the request is, so first it will create the request object, and it will populate all the parameters in that object. Now the request object is representing the entire request. The request object is representing the request from the user, correct? It will create a request object, and whatever the request parameters you sent it along with the request, those parameters are populated in the object, correct?
Yes.
So now the request object is ready. So now what web container will do is, it will also create a response object. It will create a request object, it will create a response object. Request object means HTTP servlet request object. There is a class called HTTP servlet request. It will create the object for that class. There is a class called HTTP servlet response. It will create the object of that class. So these two objects are created, and response object is an empty object, but request object is populated with all the parameters sent in the request. Now it will refer the web.xml. It will refer the web.xml, find the URL pattern. For that URL pattern, what is the matching servlet? It will create the object of that class, and using that object, it will call the doGet method or doPost method based on the HTTP GET request or HTTP POST request. So when this doGet method is called, that request object will be passed and response object will be passed to that method. So now inside the doGet method, I'm using the request object to get the parameters, request.get parameters, correct?
Yes.
So request.get parameter, I'm passing the parameter name, then will get the parameter. This get parameter method will return a parameter value. When you supply the parameter name to this method will return a parameter value. I'm catching that parameter value in a string variable because the return type is string. The get parameter returns a string. I'm catching that in the string variable. Now this variable has a value of this parameter, correct?
Yes.
So now this is how you read the data from the request object. This is how you read the data from the request object. I'm reading the data from the request object. Now I have to send the response. For sending the response back to browser, I need a writer object because I have to write the response. The server has to write the response back to browser. It has to write the response back to browser. So you need a writer object. So using you already have a response object, the empty response object. Using that response object, call the getWriter method. You will get the printWriter object. Catch that object in a printWriter variable. Now using that printWriter object, call the println method, because printWriter class has a method called println. PrintWriter class has a method called println. So now whatever the response you want to write, this is the response you want to write back to browser. So just supply that response, because println method is expecting a string. Just pass the string value. This is the string, right? Okay, so I created one string variable. This is the string I'm storing in this variable. Now I'll pass the string to this println method. Getting it? Hmm?
Yes.
So now the response will be sent back to the browser. So any questions on this, everyone? So now, right now I have this my servlet. So the every time I send a request, to the my servlet. For example, let me start the server first. I'm removing the application. I'll deploy the application again. Add and remove. I'm deploying the application again. So I have all the changes. What are the changes I made? Those changes are present in the. I deployed those changes in the server. Now I'll start the server. Right click, start the server. So now I'm sending a request HTTP localhost port number 8090 slash first application login.html. So when I send this request, I'm getting this response, correct? Agreed?
Yes.
So if I send this request again I got the same response. If I send the request again I got the same response from the server. When I send the request again, I'm getting the same response. So every time I'm sending the request, this particular request, I'm getting the same response from the server. I'm not getting a different response, right? Agreed?
Yes.
So because this is static content, this is static web page. The HTML file, the whatever the content is present in the HTML, the same content you'll get it. Whenever you send the request, you'll get the same content. Correct? Agreed?
Yes, Ramji.
Yes, Ram.
So because HTML, you're requesting for a HTML page, whatever the content present in the HTML page, the same content will come back to the browser. Every time you send the request, you get the same content anytime. So even if you send the request from your browser, or even if I send the request from my browser, or if so for example, whenever you people send www dot okay bankofamerica.com, even if you send the request, or even if I send the request, I'll get the same output. The same output you'll get it, right? The same thing you'll get it, correct? Whoever sends the request, whether you send or whether I send or anyone will send, the same response you'll see in the screen, correct? Because from my browser, from from my client, I mean from my browser, I'm sending a request to the server. To the same server, you are also sending a request. So you are also a client. Your browser is also a client, and there are so many people sending a request to the server, to the same server, www.bankofamerica.com. Everyone will see the same response, correct? Because that is a static page. That's a static web page. It's not dynamic page. Everyone will see the same response, whoever sends the request, correct?
Yes.
So but now, for example, if I send the username as Ramji, password is Java, and when I click on login, I see hello Ramji, correct? For example, when you send the request from your browser, suppose for example, if you enter Ram, suppose if Ram is sending the request from his browser, Ram, password is Java. So when he clicks login, he'll see hello Ram. So so when you send the request to the server, you'll get, so suppose if you are sending the request from your browser, you are seeing a different response. If I'm sending the request from my browser, I'm seeing a different response because my username is different and your username is different, correct? How are you able to see this different response on the screen? Because servlets, because when you send the request to the server, one particular servlet is getting called, the servlet is sending the response, correct? So servlet is sending the response based on the input, based on the user input, it is sending the response. So it is sending the dynamic response. Suppose send my username and password, I'm seeing a different page. If you send your username and password, it is sending a different page, correct?
Yes.
Because here I from the request, whenever you send the request from your browser, So the request goes to the server, and this particular servlet will be called, the do get method will be called inside this servlet. So now you're capturing the parameter value. So for the username, it's capturing as Ramji, okay, and password also it is capturing. Now what is the response it is sending back? So hello, what are the username you entered? So it is concatenating that username to this particular string, it is concatenating that username, and welcome to my website, and this HTML body is closed and HTML is closed. So this particular HTML is constructed based on the user's input, correct? But earlier it's a static content. When you ask for login.html, the static content is there. It's not constructed based on the user's input. But right now HTML is constructed based on the user's input, correct? Agreed?
Yes.
So do you see the dynamic nature of dynamic web page now? So you can see this particular web page. What you are seeing is a dynamic web page. It's not a static web page, correct?
Yes.
So how did you achieve this dynamic web page? Using the servlets, because servlet is constructing the HTML. Servlet is constructing the HTML, sending the HTML back to the browser. Servlet is constructing the HTML. It is constructing the response and sending the response back to browser. So based on the user's input, it is constructing the HTML. That's why I told that servlet is a technology which is used to generate the dynamic web pages. Any questions on that?
No, Ramji.
Everyone. So Dinesh,
Good.
did you understand what is dynamic web page now?
Yeah,
So because you were having this doubt yesterday, so it is clear, right?
yeah, clear. Thank you.
So anyone else? Sashi, Ram, Nikhil, Lakshman?
Oh, Ramji.
Yes,
Not
good.
yet.
Okay. So now let us learn more things here. So because whenever you want to send some response back to browser, you need a writer object, and using the writer object, you are calling the println and just pass the string, whatever the string you want to send back, just pass that string. Just pass that string. Okay. So for example, now I want this hello Ramji, welcome to my website, right? That thing I want it in some bold letters, maybe in heading H1. You can have a H1 tag here because you know the HTML. You can have a tag H1 and you close the H1 tag here, correct? So the HTML tag is open, body tag is open, H1 tag is open, hello. So this is the static content till here. So now this is the dynamic content. I'm just this particular string, this particular string, I'm concatenating the username, and again I'm concatenating this particular string. This is also static string. Welcome to my website. H1 is closed, body is closed, HTML is closed. So this is the only dynamic thing here, correct? Everything is else is static. Okay. So now let me send the request again. I think it is cached. Let me remove let me send the request from beginning. Login.html. Okay, username is training, password is training. Login. Did you see hello training, welcome to my website? Did you see it in the H1? Because I'm sending the response back to the browser in the H1 tag. Inside the H1 tag, this entire content is there. So because now when I send this response back to browser knows how to understand the HTML. It knows the meaning of each and every tag. It knows what is H1 tag, what is HTML tag, what is head tag, what is body tag. It knows all these tags. It knows how to understand that HTML language. That's the reason it is rendering the data on the screen after understanding the HTML. It is rendering the data on the screen after understanding the HTML, correct?
Yes.
So this is how the data is rendered on the screen. When you send the response back to browser understands that response and it is rendering the data on the screen. Any questions here?
Ramji.
So similarly, for example, for the response object, response object is there, right? Response dot set content type. So I'll tell you what is meant by set content type. You call this method, you set the content type. What type of content you are sending in the response. What type of content you are sending in the response. Set that in the content type. So the set content type is expecting one string. Okay. This is a predefined method. Inside the HTTP servlet response class, there is a method called set content type. Just call that method on the object of that class. On the object of this class, call this method. So this get content type is expecting a string. So pass the string. What type of content you are sending back? So because you are sending the content back to browser, you are writing the program, and you are sending the response back to browser. So you have to set the content type in that response. You know what content type you are sending, what type of content you are sending. You know that. Are you sending the HTML content, or are you sending the plain text? I mean, if you say text slash plain, it means it is a plain text you are sending. You are sending the plain text back to the browser. That's what you are keeping in the response object. So now let me see what response I'll get in the browser. So first application slash login.html. I will enter Java login. So I'm getting the plain text. It's not a HTML text. So when you're sending the response back to browser, now browser says what is the content type in the response. The content type in the response is plain text. So because it is plain text, it will, whatever the text you're sending, it will as it is, it will display the text. This is the text you're sending back to browser, correct? Agreed? So browser will not decode that because you said that it's a plain text, it's not a HTML text, correct? When the response is sent to the browser, browser will see what is the content type. That is what the first thing browser will do. It will see what is the content type. The content type is plain text, so it will display the response as it is. But if you set the content type as HTML text, so let the context be reloaded. The context is reloaded. I mean, this is the context is reloaded. I mean, the changes are reflected on the server. Now let me send the request. Now you said now HTML text, right? Text by HTML. It means it's HTML text. You're sending the HTML text back to the browser. That's what you're sending. When you send the response back to browser, browser sees what is the content type. What is the content type? So username is Java, password is Java. When you click login, now browser, because browser knows that it is the content type is HTML text. Now it will go and decode that HTML language and render the data on the screen. Getting it? If you don't set any content type, by default it is HTML text. That's what we have seen already. If you don't set the content type, by default it is HTML text, correct?
Yes.
That's what we have already seen in the previous example. When you don't set the content type, so browser understands whatever the content you are sending, browser will think that it's HTML content and it will decode that file and render the data on the screen. So this is the content you are sending. Browser will understand what, because browser knows that it's HTML content. By if you don't set any content type, by default it's HTML content. So now it will understand what is H1 tag. It means header tag. So it will display all these things in the bold letters. But if it is a plain text, it will display this entire content as it is. It will not decode the HTML language, correct? Any questions here? Why are you so silent? Any questions here?
No.
Everyone. So this is how you set the content type in the response. Okay, let me tell you a few more things today. Okay, few more examples, not few more concepts. The same concepts we'll discuss with various examples. So let me create one more class one more class in the com.my package. So this is login servlet. Login servlet. Finish. The name of the servlet is login servlet. Extends HTTP servlet because I want to convert this class as a servlet, correct? So I have to extend HTTP servlet, correct or not?
Yes, Ram.
Now my class is a servlet, correct? Now I want to override do get method. Okay. So now string username equal to request dot get parameter, because this login actually this login servlet will be called when you're trying to log in. Okay, I'm giving the meaningful names. This is how you have to give the names as a meaningful class names. Don't give my servlet, your servlet, and all those things. Getting it? Request get parameter of username string password request dot get parameter of password. Correct? So if username dot equals ignore case, if username dot equals ignore case Ramji and password dot equals ignore case password, oh, only one s, not two s, right? Only one s. Password dot, I'll give two s to make it more readable. Password dot equals ignore case Java, password dot equals ignore case Java. Then what I'll do is I'll construct the response dot, okay, I'll say response dot get writer. I'll get the print writer object. Reference statement in the local variable. It's pw printer. I'm catching that object in a print writer variable. Now pw dot println html. Okay, what I'll do is string response equal to html body plus string body hello username plus welcome to my website. So response dot, so not response dot print writer dot println pw dot println, so response, correct? Else what response I want to send? I want to send a response string response equal to, so html body, so please enter correct username, and I'll close the body tag and html tag. Okay, so pw.println response. Okay, that's all. So now in the web.xml, go to the web content, web.xml, web.xml. So because now I'm writing one more servlet called login servlet, just copy all these things, Control C, Control V. So one more servlet tag. So this is the, you can have multiple servlets. This is the first servlet tag and this is the second servlet tag, correct? And this is the first servlet mapping and this is the second servlet mapping. Now you're telling that if the request is /login, then call this login servlet. Login servlet. I mean, this is the name of the servlet. You can give any name. I'm just giving the name as login servlet, and I'm giving the name as login servlet. Okay, now com.mypackage.login servlet is the class name. Okay, so now I'll because whenever you make any changes in the XML file, those changes will not automatically publish to the server. You have to redeploy the application. So you have to stop the server and redeploy the application. Just stop the server. I'm stopping the server. I'm removing this application. I'll redeploy the application again because I made changes in the XML file. But if the changes are made in the Java file or HTML file, those changes will be automatically published to the server. But if there is any XML changes, you have to restart the server and you have to redeploy the application. So add and remove first application. So start the server. Okay, now go and send a request login.html. This is the first request I'm sending. I got the static web page. This is the web page I'm getting back from the browser. I'm getting back to the browser from the server. So username is Ramji, password is Java. Click login. Hello Ramji, welcome to my website. But if I enter a different password, when I click login, still I'm getting the same. Why? I should get a different error. Login servlet. If username dot equals ignore case and password dot equals ignore case as Java. If these two conditions are satisfied, then only you have to give this response. Else you have to give a different response, right? Right now Ramji is the username, but password is a different password, correct? Sysout. The username is username. Are you people following it or not?
Yes, Ram.
Sysout. The password is password. Okay, so the changes are synchronized. The changes are published to the server because it's a Java file change. But if you make changes in the XML file, you have to restart the server. See, the context is reloaded. So now the changes are reflected in the server. Now the changes are reflected in the server. Okay, I know why it is giving because it is going to the first servlet. Because it is going /first, right? It is going to the first servlet. It is not going to the login servlet, correct? Because the URL pattern is /first, correct?
Yes.
Because I did not change the HTML form. In the HTML form, in the login.html file, whenever you click on submit button, the action equal to first. It's not action equal to login. If action equal to login, then you when you send the request, you go to the login servlet. Because when the request goes to the server, the web container first checks the URL pattern. So now the URL pattern is /first. So it will go and check the web.xml. In the web.xml, what is the URL pattern? It is /first is matched to first servlet. So the first servlet is matched to first my servlet class. So inside the my servlet, the doGet method is getting called. Correct? In the doGet method, I'm always sending this response. Correct or not?
Yes.
Because the first servlet is getting called by the container. Because container is identifying this particular my servlet as a servlet class for the URL that you sent. Agreed, everyone?
Yes, Ram.
But now in HTML, now if I place action equal to login, and when you click submit, Now the request will go to the login servlet because the URL is /login. So it will go and check the web.xml. What is the URL pattern? That is /login. So this login servlet will be called now. Correct? Because the name is this. For this name, this is the class. It will create the object for this class, and on that object, it will call the doGet method. Agreed? The same thing. Based on the URL you're sending, it will identify what servlet to be called. That's why in any web application, in any website, if you open and click something based on the URL, it will give the corresponding response. The corresponding servlet will be called on the server. That particular servlet will send a response back to browser. Getting it? Any questions here?
No, Ramji.
Ramji, can you open that login HTML?
Yeah.
No, in Eclipse. Yeah. Can you explain that form one actually? Yesterday, maybe I missed that that point. Maybe you are giving the, I mean, action here, right? Based on this servlet is, maybe the
The
connection.
URL will be constructed when you click on submit button. When you click on right now, this is the login page, right? When you click on the submit button, one request will go to the server, correct?
Yes.
So that request URL will be constructed based on the action attribute. For example, if I enter suppose Ramji and password is Java, so when I click login, when I click on that button, when I click on the submit button, one request will go to the server. So what request will go? That request URL will be constructed. See that this is the request URL slash going first slash first, not slash login, because the changes are it's in the browser cache. Let me remove the cache. Control Alt Delete. अरे cancel. Control Shift Delete करा. Control Shift Delete. Yeah, Control Shift Delete. Clear data. I'm clearing the cache. I'm clearing the browser cache. Now when I send slash login.html
Slash
login.html. So username is Ramji and password is Java. Click login. Now the request is going to slash login. The URL is constructed. The URL is constructed based on the action. When you click on submit button, this particular URL is constructed. And these are the parameters going along with the request, correct?
Yeah.
Because it's a get request. The parameters will be appended to the URL. So now you got this response. For example, if you send instead of Ramji, if you send Java as a username and click login, now you get please enter correct username, because this is the logic you have written. So when you send that request in the login servlet, so it is checking if the username is equal to Ramji and password is equal to Java, then only it will send this particular response. Otherwise else, if this username is not equal to Ramji or password is not equal to Java, this is AND condition. This is double ampersand is AND condition, right? So both the conditions needs to be satisfied. If these conditions are not satisfied, even if one of the condition is failed, then you'll go to the else block, and this is the response you're sending back. Please enter correct username. Getting it? So Dinesh, here what is happening is
Ramji, because after once you click on login, it will create some other URL. That time it is going to the web.xml, right?
Yeah, every time you're sending the request to the server, the web container handles the request. The web container will go and check the web.xml for this request, for this URL, what is the servlet that needs to be called.
Okay. One we are using login.html.
Because someone has to handle the request on the server. When you're sending a request, someone has to handle that request. So the web container is the request handler. It will handle the request. So the way it handles the request is it will go and check the web.xml for this request, for this URL pattern, what is the servlet that needs to be called. So it will identify the servlet. Once it identifies the servlet, it will call the doGet method or doPost method based on the get request or post request.
Yeah, I got it. After login, it will change the URL pattern. So that time it is going to check the web.xml.
Yeah, when you click on this button, one request will go to the server. The request URL will be constructed based on the action attribute.
Thanks, Ram.
Any other questions?
I will ask after. I mean, I have that Eclipse problem still. I mean, yesterday I told after
Okay,
class.
what
Can you
about others?
please?
Any other questions in this? Others?
No, Ramji.
No, Ramji.
For example, if I enter Ramji like this, R uppercase, J uppercase, everything else is lowercase, and Java is password. And when I click on login, you are getting hello Ramji, welcome to my website. Because whether it is uppercase or lowercase, you are writing your code in such a way that you're comparing equals ignore case. I told about this method in the string class. Maybe for one batch I did not tell, but for all the other batches I told. So in the string class, I told about this method. When you're trying to compare two string objects, you can use the equals method or equals ignore case method. It will ignore the case. It will ignore the case, correct? Did you remember this?
Yes.
So now username variable has having the value called Ramji, that is in a different case, but here you are comparing with lower case. So but it is ignoring the case. It is ignoring the case and comparing both the values. That's the reason it is giving true. Otherwise, if you don't use equals ignore case and if you just use equals, if you just use equals, so if username dot equals Ramji, so then let the context be reloaded. Context is not, yeah, now the context is reloaded. Now it means that my changes are reflected in the server. What are the changes I made in the program, those changes are reflected in the server. So now let me go ahead, send the request slash login dot slash login dot html. So if I enter uppercase Ramji and password is Java, now it will give error. Please enter correct username, because it is you're just using equals. You're not ignoring the case. If you don't ignore the case, you have to send the same string or same string, all lowercase Ramji. Then only it will work. Correct? Then only your program will work. Agreed?
Yes.
Any questions here? Similarly, the password also you're ignoring the case. You can send uppercase Java or lowercase Java, one uppercase J, one uppercase V, whatever the case you want to send the case. Send that particular case, send that particular letter. That's not a problem because it is ignoring the case. This method will ignore the case and compare the two strings whether it is equal or not. Okay.
Okay, Ramji.
Suppose if you have multiple, you can have another servlet also. There's nothing wrong here. You can have another servlet. So you can have any number of servlets based on the request. That particular servlet will be identified. So slash home slash home. So this is a home servlet. Home servlet. Okay. So you can give any name. This is just a name. Servlet name. This is just a name. You can give any name here. The main thing is class is important. Which servlet class is important? Name is not important, correct? Because for this URL, this is the name, and for this name, this is the class. This is most important. Which class is that? Correct? Because the entire logic is there inside this class only. Correct or not? So let me create a class called home servlet. New class home servlet, which extends HTTP servlet. Correct? And I'll override to get method. What I'll do is I'll get the writer object, response dot get writer, catch the object in a print writer variable, assign statement to new local variable, printed widget pw.println. This is a home page. So whatever the content you're sending, the same content will be displayed in the browser. Whatever the string that you're sending, the same content will be displayed in the browser. So now, hello user, welcome to my website and all those things. Now in the login.html, suppose when you click on the submit button, if the request goes to, if the URL is constructed /home, because in the web.xml I gave /home is home servlet, so it will go to this home servlet, correct? So now let me, because I made the changes in the XML file, I have to restart the server. I have to stop the server, and I have to redeploy the application, remove the application, and deploy the application, add and remove. So first application, deploying the application. Now I'm starting the server. Because what are the changes I made in the web.xml file, those changes will not be reflected in the server if you don't redeploy the application and don't start the server again. So the server is started. Now I'll go to the login.html. First application /login, n is missing. Okay, so username is any username, it doesn't matter. Login. Now request is constructed /home, correct? Because you said action equal to home, correct? Any questions?
Yeah.
So this is the request URL. For this URL, the home servlet will be called. The home servlet's do get method will be called, because you said action equal to home and method equal to get. Action equal to home and method equal to get. So it's a get. The one request is going to the server. It's a get request. So that's why do get method is called in the home servlet, because for this URL, so the web.xml, this is the home servlet. This is the servlet that is getting identified. It will create the object for this class, and on that object it will call the do get method, because it's a get request. So now in the do get method, you are sending this response back to the browser. This is your home page, correct? That's why you see this response on the screen. Any questions here?
No, Ramji.
So this is how you can configure various servlets in the web.xml, and based on the request, the corresponding servlet will be called. Okay. So I'll stop this class for now, because I want everyone of you to practice, because I did not tell even one concept in this class. Everything is the concept which I told yesterday only. So only the new thing that I told in this class is set content type. You can set the content type on the response object. If you set HTML text, the browser will understand it as HTML response, and it will decode the response as HTML. It will decode the HTML language and render the data on the screen, render the HTML content on the screen. But if you send text, plain text, so then it will, whatever the response you're sending, it will display that response as it is, correct? That is the only new thing I told in this class. Everything else is old. So because I wanted everyone to get some feeling, some look and feel, how to write, how to create various servlets in the web.xml, and based on the based on the request which servlet is getting called. So everyone has to be very clear on this. So then I will move to some advanced topics. So how to call one servlet from another servlet? How to call, how login servlet will call the home servlet? Okay, how to redirect the request from one servlet to other servlet? How to redirect the response? All these things I'll talk about in the evening class. In evening class, I'll go very fast. So if you are comfortable till here, then you'll understand the evening class. At least I will teach 2-3 topics in the evening class, new topics and some advanced topics. Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone has to be clear till now. So how the request and response flow is happening, how the request is going to the server, and how the response is constructed on the server side, and how that response is sent back to the client. And everyone should understand what is meant by dynamic web page, how servlets are used to create the dynamic web pages, and
Yes,
why
sir.
HTML is not a dynamic web page, why it is a static web page. Because HTML, whatever the content is there in the HTML, the same content will go every time. The content is not constructed based on the user's input in the HTML, correct?
Yes, Ram.
So will you practice and come to the evening class? Because still I know that, still I hear that a lot of people are having some problems in the Eclipse, and they are not able to practice. So will you clear all those problems by evening and practice the things and come to the class? If you have any problems, please let me know, so I'll solve those problems.
Ramji, can you check my Eclipse now? I mean, after class today?
Maybe I'll check it. Hold on.
Yeah,
So that I'll also understand how to solve the problems. I'm making it as a presenter.
yeah.
Did you get the request? Did you get the download request?
Yeah, one minute, Ramji. I clicked on that switch desktop. Can you please send me again?
Did you get the request now?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you able to see my desktop, Ramji?
Yeah, I'm able to see that. So can you go to the Java build path problems, 2 problems? Go there. Unbound class path. Okay. So right click on that, not right click. So yeah, what you'll do is third web application. First, can you close the third web? Which one you're using? Third web application or first web application?
I mean, first day I created this one. Yesterday I created this third one actually.
Okay. So here it is not identifying the Java path. So we have to set the Java path first. So can you click on the first web application? Right click on that project. Properties. Java build path. So yeah, can you go to the libraries tab? There's a libraries tab, right? Yeah. Can you select the JRE? Can you just select and
Yeah.
remove it. Click on remove. There's a remove button on the right hand side. Okay, because the JRE is not the correct JRE. So add library. Now you're adding a new library. Which library you're adding? You're adding a JRE library, right? So JRE system library. Just select that, and click next. And don't use the workspace default JRE. Use the alternate JRE. Alternate JRE. Select the alternate JRE and click on install JREs. No. Wait. Click on
Yeah.
install JREs. Right now there's only one JRE that is showing here. Just click on add. Click add. Click next. So can you navigate to the directory where the Java is installed? Software. Oh, okay.
This one I installed first.
No problem. That's all. Okay, click OK. That's all. Click OK. Okay. So can you click on directory again? Can you click on that directory button? And is there anything inside Java? Go to the Java folder once. Just expand that. Come down. Yeah, select. Oh, this is not the Java. Where is JDK? There is no JDK here. Where did you install JDK?
So I need to install. I mean,
No, you have Java installed in your laptop, right? You practiced all the core Java programs.
This one only, yeah. I have used this one only every
No,
time.
no. If you use this one, it will not work. So can you go to the path once? Can you go to the environment variables? And environment variables.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, check what is there in the path. No, the system variables. Double click on that path. Double click on that path.
This one, right?
Yeah, double click. Okay, what is Java path here? Okay, Oracle Java path and the Java. No, if you use this, it will not work. For sure, it will not work. You should have JDK. How it is missed? Can you go to the command prompt? Just type Java C, enter. See, the Java C is not recognized. Can you type Java? Just Java, enter. Java is recognized because JRE is there, JDK is not there. Because JRE means Java runtime environment. You can run the program using the Java command, but for compiling, you needed Java C, right? For compiling the project.
Yeah.
So Java C is present inside the JDK bin folder, but Java is present inside the JRE bin folder. You kept JRE bin folder on the path. There is no JDK bin folder on the path. So JDK. So what happened to your laptop? Something happened to your laptop recently?
No, I am using this Eclipse. I mean, this one is IDE one. This one. Yesterday only I installed this. I mean, 2 days back only I installed this Neon one. I have two Eclipses in my laptop.
That's okay. So can you install? Can you show me where is the Java installation? Where do you have the JDK installation zip file or whatever it is, the .exe file?
Maybe I will.
I think you installed in softwares, I believe. Can you go to the softwares once?
Before that, I installed. Java actually. Yeah, I will show that software also.
Yeah, that is the thing where that is what you're using in the other Eclipse.
Yeah, yeah.
Softwares. Where is Java? It's not there.
I installed before only. That Java one actually. Maybe I missed that JDK. I will check that one, Ram.
Yeah, you have to install the Java once. You did not install the Java properly in your laptop. You install the Java and you have to point to the JDK folder.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so you can after downloading Java, so please call me so I'll solve your problem.
Yeah, yeah. Sure, sure. Thanks, Ram.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? Any other environment problems? I mean, this environment, your Eclipse environment is not ready or something like that.
No, Ramji.
No environment problems. Everyone can practice by evening.
Ramji, I have a problem.
Sorry, what is Chandralekha?
We tried to we installed the server and we were not getting the IP address page. Like we are not able to see the.
Yeah, I'll make you as a presenter. Can you share the screen?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm just running the server.
Why are you not running from Eclipse?
Uh, that one not able to. The IP address and host number is not able to fetch. That's why.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Okay, you show me your problem, then I'll explain. Yeah, show me your problem, what you're facing. Don't type everything, Chandralekha. Hold on, Chandralekha. So what you do is just cd space space, just enter S, just enter S, yes, tab, click tab, 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 tab. Are you clicking tab? Yeah, enter. The system cannot find the path specified. There is no software in the C drive. Do you have software folder in the C drive? There's a program files, right? CD space P tab tab P and tab tab. Why are you not listening to me, Chandralekha? Can you hear me?
Yes, Ram.
I'm telling you the shortcut key. Why are you not using that? CD space P tab. Enter P tab. Just click on tab. Don't click anything else. Just click on tab.
Yeah,
I don't know what's happening.
the key is not working. That's it.
Oh, your tab key is not working in the keyboard.
Yeah.
Okay, then type it. Then copy that path. Don't type it. Copy that path and paste it. Copy the path. Now it is working, right? Enter. So CD space S tab. S and tab. Yeah, enter. Yeah. So now do whatever you want. CD. What do you want to do? Tomcat, right? Apache, right? Yeah. Tab. Yeah. Tab. Not S. Oh, what is the confusion here? Oh, directly B code is there. Okay, then go to the bit folder B. B. Just type S. Just type S. START. Tab. Tab. There are a lot of exceptions coming. Can you navigate the window? Can you navigate the window? Can you navigate to the? Can you scroll up? Can you scroll up? Can you scroll up? What is that exceptions? Uh, First web application at war file. IO exception. Fail to create, destroy. Fail to start component. Yeah, can you scroll up still?
What, Ramji?
Can you scroll up? Error deploying web application. First web application at war file. That war file has a problem. Can you delete that war file from the server? Can you go to the web apps folder? Web apps folder. Just delete that war file. Now show me how are you creating the war file. Yeah, delete that and show me how are you creating. Stop the server. You cannot delete the file if the server is started. Stop the server, then delete the file. You can just close the console. The server console is there, right? The other window which is open. Yeah, now stop. Now delete the war file. Okay. So now show me how did you export the war file. That is what you are exporting. Oh, hold on. Cancel. You have to export the entire project as a war file. Right click on the project. Export. Export war file. And to which destination you want to export on the desktop, probably. Yeah, click override the existing file. Just select the checkbox. Yeah, finish. Save. See this my servlet. Hold on. My servlet is part of second web application, not a problem. Okay. So now go and check the show me the web.xml in the first web application. Show me the web.xml. Web of web.xml. Where is the web.xml? Yeah, you did not generate the web.xml. When you are creating a dynamic web project, you have to select that checkbox, generate deployment descriptor. The checkbox has to be selected. Generate web.xml. If you don't check that checkbox, the web.xml will not be generated. Can you create the project again in front of me? Can you create a dynamic web project?
Yeah. I'll just paste these pages in second project if not.
No, second project has a compilation errors. Show me what are the compilation errors. Just click on the my servlet. It has a compilation error. So the HTTP
Yeah,
servlet is not there. Okay, create a dynamic web project in front of me. No, don't delete it. That's okay. Create a dynamic web project again. Third web application. Create another project. So can you click once again? Hold on. Can you click on that new runtime? New runtime. You added all the you followed all the steps which I told.
yes.
Then don't do it. Close it. Close the. If you followed it, fine. Close it. And can you can you create the project again? I ask you to close that pop-up, not everything. New dynamic web project. యా మీకు తెలుగు అర్థమవుతుంది కదండి తెలుగులో మాట్లాడతాను డైనమిక్ వెబ్
Yeah.
ప్రాజెక్ట్ నేమ్ రాయండి థర్డ్ వెబ్ అప్లికేషన్ వన్ సెకండ్ నెక్స్ట్ క్లిక్ నెక్స్ట్ డోంట్ క్లిక్ ఫినిష్ అక్కడ జనరేట్ కొడండి యా ఫినిష్ ఇప్పుడు మీరు వెళ్ళి వెబ్ ఆ థర్డ్ అప్లికేషన్లో ఆ వెబ్ కంటెంట్ వన్ సెకండ్ ఆ వెబ్ కంటెంట్ ఫోల్డర్ మీద రైట్ క్లిక్ చేసి వెబ్ కంటెంట్ ఫోల్డర్ మీద రైట్ క్లిక్ చేసి క్రియేట్ ఏ న్యూ HTML ఫైల్ సమ్ ఏదో ఒక HTML ఫైల్ welcome.html ఏదో ఒకటి చేయండి welcome.html ఏదో ఒకటి చేయండి చూడండి అక్కడ బ్యాక్ వెళ్ళండి అక్కడ చూడండి ఒకసారి ఏమి ఇచ్చారో అక్కడ వెల్కమ్ ఏమి ఇచ్చారు వెల్కమ్ 1 ఇచ్చారా ఏంటిది వెల్కమ్ 1
Yes.
యా ఓకే ఎందుకని వెల్కమ్ 1 ఇచ్చి వెల్కమ్ ఇవ్వచ్చు కదా మళ్ళీ 1 ఎందుకు
ఇక్కడ ఏదో ఆల్రెడీ ఎర్రర్ ఉంది అందుకని ఇచ్చాను
లేదు వెల్కమ్ ఇవ్వండి ఏమవుతుంది ఏమి ఎర్రర్ ఉండదు వెల్కమ్ ఇవ్వండి ఫినిష్ ఓకే సో గో అండ్ టైప్ hello this is a welcome page in the body tag సేవ్ ఇట్ యా ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తారంటే ఈ పర్టికులర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ ని ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ as a war ఫైల్ చేయండి ఇంకేం చేయొద్దు ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ ని ఎక్స్పోర్ట్ as a war ఫైల్ చేయండి ముందు HTML వర్క్ అయితే అప్పుడు సర్వ్లెట్ చూద్దాం నెక్స్ట్ ఇప్పుడు వెళ్ళి సర్వర్ వెబ్ యాప్స్ ఫోల్డర్లో గో టు ద వెబ్ యాప్స్ ఫోల్డర్ ఒక్కసారి ఆగండి ఇక్కడ డిప్లాయ్ చేయండి యా పేస్ట్ చేశారా వార్ ఫైల్ ని విండోస్ డి విండో అని కొట్టి విండోస్ బటన్ మీద డి కొట్టండి విండోస్ డి డెస్క్టాప్కి వెళ్ళాలంటే యా కాపీ పేస్ట్ ఇట్ షార్ట్ కట్ కీస్ వాడాలండి మనం అంటే ఇప్పుడు మీకు షార్ట్ కట్ కీస్ రావు నాకు తెలుసు ఎవరికి రావు నాకు తెలుసు బట్ నేను చెప్పే షార్ట్ కట్ కీస్ వాడాలి అప్పుడే ఫాస్ట్ గా పని అవుతుంది యా గో అండ్ స్టార్ట్ ద సర్వర్ నౌ ఏం చేస్తున్నారు? సవర్కి వెళ్ళాలి మళ్ళీ. cd డాట్ డాట్ స్లాష్ cd డాట్ డాట్ స్లాష్ స్లాష్ డాట్ డాట్ కూడా ఎంటర్ కొట్టండి. 2 డైరెక్టరీస్ బ్యాక్ వెళ్ళారు. డాట్ డాట్ స్లాష్ డాట్ డాట్ అంటే యా గుడ్. cd జస్ట్ ఆ లెటర్ ఎంటర్ చేసి ట్యాబ్ కొడితే వచ్చేస్తుంది. యా cd అపాచీ ఎస్ గుడ్. cd bin ఎస్ తో స్టార్ట్ చేసి ఎస్ అండి. cd ఎందుకు? మన డైరెక్టరీ చేంజ్ అవ్వట్లేదు. వీఆర్ జస్ట్ రన్నింగ్ ద బ్యాచ్ ఫైల్. ఎస్ తో స్టార్ట్ చేయండి. ఎంటర్ ట్యాబ్ మళ్ళీ ట్యాబ్ మళ్ళీ ట్యాబ్ మళ్ళీ ట్యాబ్ మళ్ళీ ట్యాబ్. యా హోల్డ్ ఆన్. స్టార్ట్ అప్ ద బ్యాచ్ ఫైల్. దట్స్ ఆల్. మీ ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి ఎందుకో. జస్ట్ ప్లీజ్ కెన్ యూ మ్యాక్సిమైజ్ ద విండో. పైకి వెళ్ళండి. మీకు ఎక్సెప్షన్స్ వస్తున్నాయి సర్వర్ స్టార్ట్ అయ్యేటప్పుడు. బ్యాక్ వెళ్ళండి. ఐ మీన్ స్క్రోల్ అప్. ఆగండి. అక్కడ ఏంటి ఎక్సెప్షన్ ఏంటి చూడండి. ఫెయిల్ టు క్రియేట్ డెస్టినేషన్ డైరెక్టరీ టు కాపీ రిసోర్సెస్. డెస్టినేషన్ డైరెక్టరీ క్రియేట్ చేయలేకపోతుంది. వెబ్ యాప్ ఫోల్డర్ థర్డ్ వెబ్ యాప్ లో. ఓకే ఒకసారి టామ్కేట్ సర్వర్ లొకేషన్కి వెళ్ళండి. యా అక్కడ వర్క్ అనే ఫోల్డర్ ఉందా? ఉంది కదా. ఇంకేం డెస్టినేషన్ డైరెక్టరీ చేయలేకపోతుంది. గో ఇన్సైడ్ ద వర్క్ ఫోల్డర్. ఇదే ఫస్ట్ అంటే ఇంతకుముందు ఎప్పుడైనా వర్క్ అయిందా టామ్కేట్? అసలు ఒకసారి కూడా వర్క్ అవ్వలేదా?
అవ్వలేదు రామ్జీ. మా ఇద్దరికి, నాకు తేజకి. అంటే హోస్ట్ నెంబర్ ఇచ్చిన.
మీకు ఎవరికైనా ఎలాంటి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఉంటాయి, ఇఫ్ ఎనీ వన్ ఆఫ్ యూ హ్యాస్ దీస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్, యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఆస్క్ మీ ఇన్ ద ప్రీవియస్ క్లాస్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్. You should not waste your time. You should not waste your time for debugging the things, because I will debug better than you, correct? So don't waste much time in debugging the things. So you have to ask me and make things clear. Otherwise you lose time, right? So you are losing now. You already lost a lot of time. You would have practiced so many things from yesterday if these problems are solved, correct?
Yeah.
Anyways, so I will solve this program in offline to you. I'm closing this meeting, and call me now. Call me now after this meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye everyone.